in case this is your first time here, my name is Jennifer Diamond, and I'm a certified plant-based nutrition coach, living a whole food, plant-exclusive, gluten-free, sofa-free lifestyle for health and well-being. I am super excited that you're tuning in today. I want to check the chat and see who is here. Let me just see. I want to say hi, Jackie. Great to see you here. Hello, Lisa. So everybody here, if you have any questions or comments, I love the interaction. So please feel comfortable to go ahead and add anything in the chat. Hi, Marilyn. Everybody, this is going to be such a fun thing. So we are going to be talking today all about a rich, delicious topic that so many people, I think, are curious about and also can be very confused about. And that is the 4 C's, right? Cacao, cocoa, carob, and chocolate. So I just want to ask you guys a question before we get started. So which one of those 4 C's do you usually use, if you use any of them, when making delicious whole food plant-based desserts? And it's okay if you haven't used any of them. You could just share whatever whatever it is for you. I do want to say hi to Karen and Nan. Oh, I'm so glad to have everybody here. Hello to everybody. Just so great to have everyone here. So we see them all the time on ingredients labels, right? And in recipes and health food stores and even in the checkout aisle. But do you ever wonder what is really like the difference between all 4 of the C's? What's the difference? Are some of them healthier than others? How do they affect our energy or mood and long-term health? And most importantly, can we still enjoy them as part of a whole food plant-based, SOFAs-free or SOS-free and gluten-free lifestyle, or any of the above mixture, right? So whether you're trying to heal, whether you're just trying to simply get off sugar or eat more whole plants, more whole foods, or maybe just simply feel better after dessert, well, we're going to cover it all. So if you see me rubbing my nose a lot, it's because the powders that I have here, all the different chocolate stuff, it's like tingling. I'm saying I'm here, so I just wanted to mention that. So yeah, let's check the chat. So which one of those do you guys usually use when making your desserts? Oh, Lisa says I use cocoa powder regularly. Okay, that's really good. Cocoa powder. Well, we're gonna talk about the different ones. Anyone else want to share? Please do so in the chat. And let's see. I would like to ask Todd. I know you don't usually make desserts, but do you find that we usually use a certain one over another, or you don't really know what goes in them?
I don't really know what you put in them. I just eat them.
And that could be where you are, and that's okay too. You can put that in the chat. And I want to say hello to John Jew and Apple a Day. I'm so happy to have everybody here. Yes, hello, Nan. And anyways, so if you were just tuning in, I was just asking what you normally use. Is it cocoa, cacao, carob, or chocolate? And so you're still welcome to put that in the chat. So I do want to start talking about cacao, right? And I've got some bag of cacao powder right here. I have it right here in this bowl. And we'll be looking at the different colors and the different things as we go on. But it's often called the purest or the original form of chocolate. And you're going to understand why as we talk through this. And so I do want to switch to a picture. Let me just see here. I want to show you, and I'm going to do this one right here. I want to show you. Okay, so this is the cacao tree. And the cacao tree thrives in hot, humid regions near the equator, primarily within 20 degrees north or south of the equator. The largest producers are found in West Africa, particularly in the Ivory Coast and Ghana, along with some of the regions in Central and South America and even parts of Asia. I was looking at a map just to kind of see, and so if you're not familiar with the West Africa area, you can pull that up and it'll show you the coast. So I wanted to just show you this picture because I don't have a tree, and a lot of times we don't get to see where the beginning starts. And so I don't think I can use a pointer, but you can see they are large. They are large. The leaves are large, and those big shaped pods, those are large on there, and those are the cacao beans, or the pods, I should say. So let me now show you this picture right here. And this is cacao. Okay, so this is what the bean looks like, the pod and the beans inside. So cacao beans are found inside the pods, right? And so this one is cracked in half, and we have different things going on both sides. But they're normally, before you crack them in half, they're normally like the shape of a football shape, kind of. They're typically, they range in size so that you can get a better understanding of that. Anywhere from 8 to 14 inches long. I mean, when you think of a foot as 12 inches, that is pretty long. That's pretty big. And they can weigh, they're heavy. They can weigh as much as like 3 pounds or sometimes even more. And they grow on the trunks and the larger branches of the cacao tree, which we just saw. But I want to take a minute to talk about this. So this is opened here, and you see on one side it's like white. That is how it comes. When you open it up, it's white, and it's this gooey kind of jelly type of covering. And that is actually edible, I understand. But when you take it apart, and then you can put it on a tray, and then you can roast it. And when you roast it, then it will look like this dark brown color that you see on the other side of the screen. And then you can crack it open and get the shell off. And once the shell is off, then the inside is the actual cacao. So I just really thought that was interesting. Let me go back to this camera here. And so before I continue, I just want to check the chat. Let's just see. Let's see. I want to go back a little bit. 1 second. Okay. So John Jew says, I use cacao powder and 100% dark chocolate with almond flour. Count as non-compliant SOS, so that's okay. As I make my delicious brownies, cupcakes, cookies, and I'm not sure what to call them. Well, it sounds like you did find something to call them. Call them yummy, which is what you did. And I want to say hello to Jill and Marley. You guys are great here. Okay, so Marley says, I've seen the cacao pods, if that's what you call them, in South Florida. Oh, really? I had no idea they grew there. I didn't either. So that's cool. And I guess you can find them in other places. And it's super exciting that you were able to find them. I actually tried to look at specialty stores and look all around my area to see if we could find one to show you. But since I couldn't, they weren't available, then that's why I decided to at least show you the pictures. So I hope that you enjoy them if you're unfamiliar. So a young cacao pod, which is what we just have the picture of that was cracked in half, a young one, it's going to be green in color, and it's going to take like 4 to 5 months to grow and several more months to even ripen. And during the ripening, then that's when they turn different colors, so they can turn yellow, orange, red, purple. I think even the green is when they're unripe. Yeah. And then when they're ripe, they turn all the rainbowy kind of colors. The red, of course, indicates that they are at their mature stage and they're ready to be harvested. So the pulp inside is what we were just talking about, that white. That is actually supposed to be sweet and flavorful. I personally have never tasted that. I don't know if anybody that's watching has. If so, do you agree with that's what the flavor is? So the cacao pods, they will continue to ripen and age on the tree. And then eventually, if you don't take them at that perfect ripening, they will turn brown as they become overripe, which is actually very interesting, right? Because a lot of things turn brown when they overripe, like bananas and pears and different things like that, which I thought, okay, it makes sense, right? And then at that stage, the pulp might start to ferment. Isn't that cool? And that affects the flavor of the cacao bean inside. So it's important to know that the appearance and the flavor of the cacao pods, they can vary. So they're not going to all taste the same. And I have a friend in the plant-based world. We call her the chocolatier because she's always making beautiful dishes. And so chocolate makers, and not just this friend that I know, but other people in general, they also like to select the cacao pods at different stages of the ripeness because that allows them to achieve specific flavor profiles, and then they can have that in their final product. So isn't that interesting? Cacao comes from the seed of the, let me see if I could say this right, the Theobroma cacao tree. Theobroma, when you translate it, it actually means food of the gods, right? So that's kind of fun. Harvesting cacao beans, it does involve manually removing that ripe cacao pod from the tree if you're lucky enough to be near one or see one. And then, of course, we talked about then you need to split them. And then you can remove the beans. So I've seen people, not in real life, but online in different places. I've seen them chop them open, even with their bare hands, right? Chop, or you can use something, that will help crack it. I don't know if a hammer would be a good idea, but you just get something that's really firm and give it a good whack, and it will crack open. And then once you crack it open, you'll have that gelatinous, that white, and covering the pod. So after harvesting them, the beans then, like I've said, they'll be removed from the pod, and then you can actually ferment them for a few days to a week. And that actually helps develop the flavor. So then anytime after that, and you don't have to do that, but it can be done, then they're dried, and then they're either broken into the nibs or cold pressed into powder or made into paste or butter, cacao butter, right? So I have some nibs right here, and we'll talk about those as well. So the key is that it's minimally processed, and the heat is kept low to preserve the natural goodness, and this helps keep many of the natural nutrients intact, and that's why the cacao can be considered raw or minimally processed, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it isn't raw. So if that's important to you, you want to pay attention. So I got a question for you guys, okay? So do you know the difference between cacao and cocoa? And Lisa said that she uses cocoa. And I'd love to hear, if you know the difference, you could say yes, you could say no, or you can put a Y or an N, or you can do whatever you want. Anyways, nutritionally, the raw cacao is a superfood. You guys have heard that term. There's lots of that going around. I wonder if this says superfood on it. I don't think so if you look. But at any rate, it's supposed to be a superfood. And it's rich in magnesium and iron and zinc and potassium and flavonoids. And this one even says excellent source of copper, which I have heard also. And those powerful antioxidants those are what protect our cells. So it also has a bit of healthy fat and fiber. It's got a bold, earthy, bitter taste. If you've ever tried just plain cacao powder, you can think deep chocolate flavor that just doesn't have any sweetness, right? But the thing about it is cacao is still a stimulant. So even though it's natural, it contains theobromine, which is a gentler version. Well, I don't say it's just gentler than, say, caffeine. But it still can affect people's sleep hormones and mood. There are some studies that suggest it can cause inflammation. I was like shocked when I heard that, especially if you're sensitive or if you're healing from an inflammatory condition, adrenal fatigue or neuropathy. And I have the small fiber neuropathy that I'm almost healed from. And so those things stand out to me, and I wonder if they stand out to you. But don't stop listening yet, because this is still not fully studied. It's still not documented completely, so I don't know. Because then I came across another study that says just the opposite. And they say that the cacao contains antioxidants that support your health, your cell health, reduces oxidative stress, and can help with reducing inflammation, support brain and heart health, and even elevate mood, which gives you that good feeling, that the good compounds. So you know what? What are you supposed to think, right? With like so many other things, I say just listen to your body. Be aware that it could go either way. So I just wanted to share because it was conflicting, and I don't know if anybody believes one or the other or knows more than that, but I thought it was interesting. So cacao isn't for everyone. As I said, it is still a stimulant. And, I have to be really careful with those kinds of things myself. And for a long time, I was like, okay, 3 o'clock, I can't have it. But then, every once in a while, if I go to a party or something and someone has made some delicious whole food dessert, but I try to be really careful because it does affect me. And it can also be acid forming. That is not ideal if you're trying to maintain an alkaline environment inside your body. So you got to think about that possibly. It can be irritating to the gut for some people, and it can trigger headaches, it can trigger anxiety, skin breakouts for some people. So I can't say this enough. Just be in tune with your body. And if it's not working for you, then stop doing it. There are so many other options that we're going to talk about, and maybe you'll find another thing that you could try if it's not for you. And of course, always consult a qualified medical professional before trying anything new or different. Making sure you're not allergic or have any issues with it, because I am not giving medical advice and I'm not making any recommendations. I'm just sharing what I know or what I've learned through my own research that I thought was interesting. So let me just check the chat here. Let's see. Oh, wait. Marley says, oh, they sell them at the farmer's market down here. Pretty cool, but I have no idea how to use it. Oh, that's interesting. You're probably talking about the pods. And John Ju says yes to the question. And then Lisa says, I think I know the difference. Marley says, no, I don't know the difference. Marilyn says no. Lisa says, I have to eat anything I make with cocoa powder early in the day. Otherwise, yeah, it keeps you awake as well. Interesting. So Marley has a question. Let's put that up there. Should we not have any treats made with cacao at night, like cookies or brownies? Well, if you're sensitive to anything like a stimulant, like a caffeine thing, then I personally wouldn't do it at night. If I was going to do it, I would try to do it earlier in the day. And this way, I don't have it affecting me. Some people it doesn't affect. But if you are a sensitive person or you're just trying to make sure that nothing is in there stimulating, then I would say maybe do it earlier in the day. So, okay, so if you are all about cacao, right, then I want to say some of the things that you could do with it, right? You can add it to your smoothies. You can sprinkle cacao nibs on your oatmeal or anything really, or make cooked and or raw desserts. They do truffles, you could do brownies. I personally have some strawberries here. Who doesn't like a good dipped strawberry, right? Chocolate dipped strawberry or orange. My kids, when they were little, they used to love, and they probably still do now that they're grown, chocolate orange. You know, that's a really good one. I just want to take a minute and show you the nibs just a little bit here. And I don't know if you're familiar with the cacao nibs, but it's basically once they're roasted, you can literally, you know, they kind of crumble them up. And that's what we have here. Now, I also want to taste a couple of these things just to let you know what I think here. And so this one is the cacao powder, right? Totally right. It's bitter. Bitter. It's not something that I want to go yummy, just how it is, which is why when people cook with it, they add other things to it, like the date sugars or date syrups. They're sweet, different sweeteners. Now the cacao nib, which is the first stage, right before this, that is crunchy and super duper bitter too. I actually think that the powder is more bitter than the nib. So just wanted to share that. Yeah. Okay. I was just looking in the chat here, and Marley says, "Yeah, thank you. I didn't take that into account." Yeah, it's true. And Lisa was sharing about that also. Lisa said, "I make a chocolate orange pudding with Japanese sweet potato." Woo! That sounds so good. As I love that combo. So yeah, a lot of people love orange chocolate or chocolate orange. That's why I decided to put these out here, because I thought it would be something just as a nice reminder. So it pairs also beautifully with just dates, the cacao, and cinnamon is another really great flavor. One of our families is the vanilla. Who doesn't love vanilla? Oh my gosh. Even though it's cacao and it's like chocolatey, we still enjoy adding vanilla into it. So, okay, and yeah, Lisa, that does sound amazing, like we all said. So, okay. I want to, unless you have any other questions or anything else you want to talk about regarding cacao, I'd like to move on to cocoa, right? So let me know in the chat. We can always go back if you want to. But cocoa is essentially nothing more than roasted cacao. Did you know that? It's made from the same cacao beans, but it's roasted at higher temperatures, which changes the chemical structure, the flavor, and the nutritional profile. Yeah. And the roasted beans are cracked, and that's something that they called winnowed. And that's when the shell and the roasted pulp are separated from the bean inside. And then the beans are broken up into nibs, and then those nibs are ground into the fine powder, or you can use it as a paste too. So there's natural cocoa, and then there's something called Dutch processed or alkalized cocoa, which is even more refined. And we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. So I should also say that depending on the brand of cocoa you're buying or how it was processed, it may come with some unwelcomed additives if you're not careful. So even though it's roasted, you still get some of the minerals like the iron, magnesium, but a lot of the antioxidants, I understand, are lost during the heating process. So, and that makes sense. Anything that comes to a higher temperature usually loses something. It's also still has some theobromine, and it will have a smidge of the caffeine. Cocoa is often easier to digest than cacao. It still supports mood and heart health in smaller amounts, and it's less bitter than the cacao. So it has a more familiar, like comforting flavor that many of us grew up on. I know when I was a kid, I didn't know cacao. I didn't know what that was. We just knew cocoa because we used to have hot cocoa, right? Or we used to call it just hot chocolate, but it was cocoa. And so anyways, it's a smoother, it's deeper and more chocolatier than the cacao. It is less bitter. It's more mellow, and it's lower in antioxidants because of the heat processing it goes through. So when it's being roasted, so like the cacao, cocoa can be stimulating, and it may not sit well with sensitive systems, sensitive tummies, sensitive bodies. And so I'm just gonna say, like, watch for the added ingredients. So many cocoa powders have hidden sugars, oils, dairy even, especially in the processed foods, but you can also look for clean ones. So I want to talk a little bit about Dutch processed cocoa. And so Dutch processed cocoa, so that is treated with an alkalizing agent. Isn't that crazy? And what does that mean, right? It's treated with an alkalizing agent to reduce acidity. So I have one right here, and this is Cocoa Rouge cocoa powder, unsweetened for baking and drinking, 100% cacao. It says right here. Let me see if you guys can see this. This is the one that I have right here, and it says red Dutch processed cocoa powder. It's got all these beautiful things on it, right? It says non-GMO, free from peanuts and gluten, and it's vegan friendly, and all of these things on it. But if I turn to the back and I look in the ingredients, it says, I'm going to read it, high fat cocoa pressed with alkali. And I thought, what is that? What is alkali? High pressed? So, the process makes it smoother, right? The process this goes by makes it smoother than the regular roasted cocoa, but it is even lower, this one, in beneficial compounds, like certain levels of phytochemicals, phytomain plant chemicals. Plus, those alkalized agents that I was just talking about, that's like, what is that word? The alkalized agents that are used in this process may not be the kind of thing that you want in your food, and include things like potassium carbonate. Anyone knows what that is? That is an inorganic version of basically like a white salt. Or sodium carbonate. That's also known or called soda ash. Or sodium sodium hydroxide. I'm trying, guys. So anyways, sodium hydroxide, which is also known as lye. Have you ever heard of that? L-Y-E, lye. And it has like a highly corrosive base that decomposes lipids and proteins. It's also frequently used to make wood pulp, to make soaps, to make detergents, and drain cleaners. That's what they use it for. It's like, yikes, why are they putting it in here? I don't know why people do what they do. Corporations, I should say, right? Okay, so if you are using cocoa powder, then just choose the unsweetened organic cocoa powder. A lot of conventional cocos are highly processed, and as I said, they may contain some of those nasty additives or worse, the pesticides. So always read your ingredient labels so that you know what you're getting. You know what was really interesting? They had 3 different ones of this, 3 different colors at the store. They had this red one, a pink one, and I think a brown one. And the ingredients were different. They were different colors because I think this was the red Dutch process. The other one was not. I can't remember what they were, but just because the label looks the same, check the ingredients. Just make sure, because sometimes I think I know what I'm getting because I've gotten it before, or I've gotten the same brand, and it isn't actually what I think. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, or serve as a reminder. So cocoa is really great for baking. You want to get a clean one, right? You can add it to whole food plant-based things like muffins and brownies and cookies. And like Lisa mentioned, she makes a delicious dessert with it using the orange sweet potato. People make homemade hot cocoa. You can even make pancakes with it. So, you can do a plant-based, you can use oats and do it that way. Or you can just even use it to sprinkle on something or dust some fresh fruit. You can combine cocoa with a whole food sweetener like date paste. I've got some date paste. Well, this is actually syrup, but you can make your own date paste using real dates and water and blend it up, or maple syrup, and then you can get that like nostalgic chocolate kind of flavor. So I want to ask you guys a question. How many of you know what carob is? Carob. Do you use carob? Are you familiar with carob? And if so, what do you know about it, if anything? And so while you guys are doing that, I just want to take a minute and taste this one before we move on. This is the cocoa powder. I just want to dip my finger in it. And it does have more of a chocolatey flavor to me. It isn't as bitter. So far I'm going to say it runs true. And yeah, even though this is unsweetened, and so it is not like super sweet, right? Because it's unsweetened. It is sweeter, I guess, than the cacao powder. So I don't know if that makes sense because there's no sweetener in it. And maybe sweet is the wrong word. So yeah, so anyone that wants to share about carob or your experience about carob, please let me see. Okay, Marley says, I was going to ask you about carob. Oh yeah, that's next. So glad that you're going to go over that. Yeah, carob is a fun one. So we'll talk all about carob, and while you're putting your answers in the chat, I'm just going to show you, I have two here. This one is unlabeled, this one at the bottom, because it was actually gifted to me by a friend in the area, and it's just labeled carob. And so I've been enjoying that. This one I found, didn't even know I had it. This is super, super old. I'm embarrassed to have it here. It just tells me that I need to go through the pantry and really get rid of stuff. But I'm glad I had it because this way I can use it to show you. So this one is not organic. It just says premium carob powder, and the ingredients on the back is roasted carob powder. And so you can get them roasted, you can get them raw, I think. And so just to show the difference in the brands, this is kind of a similar color actually. So this is the carob. These are different colors. This one is the cacao. This is the carob. And then, of course, this one in the middle is like totally different. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up. Okay. So, I think I want to show you, let me see, I think I have a picture here. I want to just bring up a picture for a minute. Okay. So here on one side is the carob tree and the pods. Okay. So, the carob tree grows in like the Mediterranean area most commonly, but it can be grown all over the world. We've lived in California. I know that it grows in California, both northern and southern. And I know of farmers or different farm areas where you can go and shop there and pick the food right off of the tree. They have carob trees. So carob trees are pretty slow growing, evergreen trees. They can take between 6 to 10 years to produce their first pods. And there are many different varieties of carobs, like different varieties of apples, right? So, we talk about apples, right? There's Fuji and Gala and Green and Envy and Pink Lady and all go on and on and on. Same thing with the carob tree. And I just want to have you look at the very top of this picture. When it first creates the pod or the bean, because it looks like a bean to me, it's green, and then that's not ready. That's considered an immature one. But you wait a little longer and it turns that brown. But in this case, that's not overripe. That is actually the perfect maturity. And it also becomes like harder, like, really firm. And then the bottom picture shows that there are seeds in there, but you can actually eat this right off the tree as long as you take tiny bites and make sure you don't get the seed, because the seed is hard as a rock and it can damage your teeth. So, but it will taste like carob, carob doesn't taste like chocolate, but it will taste like carob, which has a familiarity to a chocolate. So I just wanted to show that picture. Let me go back here. And so the pods are ready to harvest. Like I told you, when they're brown, they're fairly stiff, and they're usually dried or roasted, and then they're ground into a powder, or they can be turned into a carob chip. Have you heard of that or had that before? And get this. The carob is naturally sweet, so no added sugar or sweeteners are needed with carob, which is different from the bitter cacao, which is interesting, right? So you can actually eat the carob right off of the tree, like I was telling you, and you can take the seeds, because we're not going to eat the seeds, and you can harvest the seeds, which is really cool. And so it's interesting that when the plants want to be, they want to be harvested, they want to have new babies growing, right? So it can reproduce all the time. And so it's interesting how it's made in a way naturally that's so hard nobody would want to eat it because you break your teeth. So carob is caffeine free, and if that's a concern for you, that's great. It's stimulant free, so it's not going to interfere with your sleep. And I think it was Marley or somebody that was asking, should I have cacao earlier in the day? Yes, I would say again, but maybe if you want something a little later, maybe try carob and see how that does. It shouldn't interfere with your sleep. It's rich in calcium. It's got potassium in it, antioxidants, and it also has fiber and a touch of protein. So they're all great. They're just different. But because carob is naturally sweet and it doesn't stimulate the nervous system, it's fantastic for people with anxiety or hormone issues or adrenal fatigue. It also is really gut friendly and often used for, I've heard this, I don't know how they use it, but it's used for soothing digestion. When I think of soothing digestion, I think of aloe, not carob, but now I'm going to think of carob. So I want to just take a second to check the chat, and let's see. Anything here, honey, that I need to pay attention to?
No questions.
Okay, no questions. Just some comments. Lisa says, I haven't had carob in years, and I remember not liking it very much, right? Because it is a different flavor. But if you compare it with the raw cacao, you might change your mind. And I'm going to taste it. I wish I could offer everybody a taste, but we're going to taste this one too and compare it. Just the raw by itself. And so let's see. You guys are just all talking about good, yummy things. So I'm going to go back to carob. Carob, again, it doesn't taste like chocolate. It has a different taste to it than chocolate. Now, So if you are expecting it to taste like chocolate, then you're going to be surprised and you might be like, yeah, I don't like it. But are you tasting the chocolate, cacao, or are you tasting the sweetener added to it to create chocolate? I don't know. That's a good question, right? If you actually just taste the cacao powder and taste the carob powder, then I think that would be a fair assessment. So, anyways, some people find carob a little bit too sweet, believe it or not, or this earthy with like a nutty, almost caramel-like flavor. I'm gonna taste it right now and tell you what I think. And as we were getting ready for this, I was like, I didn't feel like that was a good description, but I actually do think that it is a good description. Okay, so I'm gonna have the carob. Oh, well, I don't need to open this because I have some right there. So I'll just do this. Here we go. Ready? See, that is sweet. Now, it's sweet on the front end, meaning when I first touch it, but then at the back end, I can taste more of an earthy, nutty flavor. It's an interesting flavor. It makes me want to have more. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so let's see. We have a question. Is it sold everywhere now, like local stores and Amazon? Yes, and we can put a link in the description after this is over, and you can look at some of the ones that we recommend or have used before. But yeah, check your local stores. You should be able to find carob. But check the ingredients, of course. And if you order like on some of these, like, what is that? Azure or some of those, I think you can also get it on there as well. So good question. Yeah, and I will, Todd's gonna make a note so that we make sure to do that. So, I remember the very first time that I tried carob and I didn't care for it. But now I'm finding that I prefer it. And another thing about carob is it can be raw if you get raw carob. If it doesn't say raw, like this one says roasted, then it's probably roasted if it doesn't say raw, which means it doesn't qualify as a raw food if that's important to you. And like I said, this one actually says the word roasted on it, so that's your giveaway on there. Carob powder, you can swap it out for like a 1-to-1 ratio with cocoa in baking. So it's really good in smoothies. You can put it in warm drinks. You can make carob bars, like whole food carob bars. You can make carob chips. It can be also paired with cinnamon or vanilla, which is really delicious. I really like to just make something that I call a carob coin. And I actually have this little thing here you can use, these little coin type things. And I actually have some in the freezer. I can pull them out if you're interested. But I basically just blend something simple like a banana and the carob and pour it in the mold. And then I have a carob coin. So there you go if you want to try something like that. Todd, actually, would you grab them out of the freezer? Right over there, the carob coins, and we could just show them. So one thing I do want you to watch out for, a lot of the store-bought carob chips, if you don't want to eat them, thank you, sweetie, contain added sugars and dairies, so you just want to be careful, just like the cocoa. Read the ingredients label and look for the unsweetened and dairy-free options. I wasn't planning on sharing these, but why not? So these are just, I've got it on my, I'll just show you here. And it's just these little tiny discs. I love them. And there's nothing added to this, no sweetener or anything. I have sweet bananas, but that's it. So there are lots of things that you can do that are really simple. I'm going to give you these back so they don't melt. And so I just did want to share that with you. Okay, so yes, we were talking about ingredients labels, and just make sure that you look for the unsweetened or the dairy-free options if you are living the way that I live, and I live no beer. So, yeah, so okay, so let's check the chat. Are you familiar with the Carob, right? That's what we were asking earlier. And if so, what do you know about it? And it's okay if you're not. So let's just see. Let's see. Do we have anything here? Oh, Kiko, welcome. I have chia berry parfait, and it's cacao powder in the recipe, but I changed it. Oh, but sometimes you change it to Carob from time to time. When you use Carob powder, you can use 4 to 5 less days. Wow, yes, and that makes a lot of sense because it's sweetened. It's naturally sweet. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. And then Kiko also says, I love Jennifer's hair. It looks fantastic with braids. Thank you. I was, Todd said I looked, what'd you say, Dutch?
Norwegian.
Norwegian. Thank you. Yeah, just something different that I thought would be fun to have. I even wore my chocolate shirt. You can't tell. It's a chocolate shirt. It doesn't taste like chocolate or smell like chocolate, but it looks like chocolate. Okay, so anybody else talk about familiarity with Carob, Todd? Did you see anything? A little bit.
Just this other comment from Kiko.
Yeah. Hi, Jennifer. I love Carob, but my husband doesn't quite like it. I didn't like it in the beginning, but I enjoy it now. I tend to like it more during the winter. Well, that's interesting. Why do you like it more during the winter, I wonder? And I totally get it because I didn't really care for it either. It's just a different taste than I think what standard diets usually taste like when you think of chocolate. You know, growing up, when I thought of chocolate, I thought of Hershey bars, and I mean, that's not even chocolate. But I didn't know about the different profiles and flavors, so it makes sense. So if you've tried Carob in the past and you didn't like it, maybe consider trying it again. I would love to hear, if you do, what your thoughts are about it. So anyways, I want to talk about chocolate, right? Let's talk about the big one, chocolate. And okay, so here's a question for you guys without using Google, or don't, just stay here with me. Can you guess how much chocolate is consumed around the world each year? And every answer is great. And don't worry about being right or wrong. It's just for fun. Just wondering if you're interested in that. So the question again is, can you guess how much chocolate is consumed around the world each year? And if you're watching this as a replay, you can certainly put your answers into any of this stuff and pause it. We would love to hear from you. Okay, so most of us know that chocolate is this creamy, sweet, rich flavor. But what is it really? Do you know, right? Well, chocolate is a processed food made by combining cocoa or cacao, right? Because this comes from the same plant. This comes from a different plant, I should say tree. So combining cocoa or cacao, fat, which is usually cocoa butter, and sweetener. So I have a chocolate bar here, and you can make your own chocolate bars, or you can do chocolate coins or anything else. And you know, this is a really nice brand of chocolate. I did not make this. And this one has, you know, you want to look for the smooth, silky when you're making it. You want it to be nice, and you want to, I understand that the best way to know that a chocolate bar is really good is if you hear that snap when you crack it. And I don't know if that's just with homemade or what, but let's crack this one together, shall we? Yeah, that was pretty cracky. I don't know if you could hear that, but oh, nice wafty chocolate bar right there. And so, but this one is also thicker. So you I don't know, for whatever that's worth, you can play around with that. Okay, so we have people guessing in here, and we're gonna get to the answers soon. But we'll just say, Marley says 1 ton, Poor Scorpy High says 100 ton, John Jew, 120 pounds each person with a question mark.
That's a lot of chocolate.
And let's see, and then we have some side comments I'll just read. Kiko says, you just have to give it a try in a small quantity because some love it and some don't. The difference between the cacao and the carob. Yes, thank you for sharing that. And then Marley says, well, maybe 10 with lots of sugar. And then Kiko says, my husband, when he had a sensitivity to caffeine, he could not even eat a bite of chocolate. So this is an excellent substitute for caffeine sensitive people. Yes, and we did mention that. And I appreciate you sharing that that's been the experience. So we are going to talk about the answer to that question in just a little bit. But I just want to talk a little bit about chocolate first. So most commercial chocolates also contain things like what? Can you guess? Yes. Most commercial chocolates contain sugar, dairy, emulsifiers like soy, lecithin. I always say that. I always have a hard time saying that one, huh, Todd?
Yes.
Lecithin.
Lecithin.
I always say lecithin or whatever. I like trip on it. Just other fatty acids and just monoglycerides and just weird other chemicals that I can't pronounce. And these emulsifiers are like if you want to think of them, just think of them as like basically the glue that holds the solids and the fats together. So for the large-scale chocolate companies, emulsifiers are a great way to skimp on the cocoa butter, right? While creating the same luxurious, like melt in your mouth kind of sensation that people are looking for. Now, the cacao beans are roasted and then turned into the cacao nibs, which we talked about. And those nibs then are ground into the fine paste called chocolate liqueur, or if you've heard of that. And you might see that in a chocolate bar ingredients. And then that chocolate liqueur is further refined to create that smooth, velvety texture, which sometimes includes a technique called conching. Conching, right? Conching. Conching involves kneading the chocolate liqueur with other ingredients like sugar, cocoa butter, and then that further helps develop the flavors and the textures. So then if you're making your own chocolate chip, you could do what's called tempering. So that's the process of heating and cooling the chocolate to achieve the desired texture and appearance, like that smooth, glossy finish. I was kind of trying to show you on the bottom of this bar. I don't know, it's a little bumpy actually, but you can see it's kind of that glossy appearance. And then that tempered chocolate can then be poured into molds. You know, you can get molds that are like a chocolate bar, and then you can create bars or other shapes that you'd like. So that's what I wanted to say about that. And so the range of what's considered chocolate is huge. It's just huge. And it goes from super highly processed candy bars to beautifully clean, raw, vegan chocolate. And so there are different types that we can talk about. There's dark, there's milk, there's semi-sweet, and white, which isn't actually chocolate at all, because white chocolate doesn't contain any cacao solids. And when my husband and I were first dating and first met each other, his favorite chocolate was white chocolate. And I just thought, wow, it's so sweet and it's so not chocolatey. And as it turns out, we learned it's because it's not real chocolate. So why do they call it white chocolate? I don't know, it's like white sugar.
It's marketing.
Anyways, okay, so dark chocolate, 70% and up. Sometimes you'll see I have this one here, and it says organic 70%. This is the brand of chocolate bar that I was showcasing today. But you can see them sometimes up to 80%, even up to 100% I have seen. And there was a time when Trader Joe's which is a store in the States. I don't know if it's internationally. They used to sell like chocolate. It wasn't chips, it was like nibs or whatever, 100% dark chocolate, but they since took that off, and I thought, wow, 100%. But anyhow, dark chocolate 70% and up has more cacao, and because of that, it has more antioxidants and minerals, whereas milk chocolate has more sugar and less of the good stuff. So high quality dark chocolate with a high cacao percentage can have mood boosting and heart supportive effects, but the benefits drop off quickly when we have the additives and the sugars that go up. So if you're buying dark chocolate, look for the short ingredients list. You should look for that on everything, right? And then avoid those that have ingredients like the dairy or the soy lecithin. Is that it? Refined sugars and oils when possible. So then, of course, check the percentage of cacao or cocoa solids, and the higher, then the better in terms of nutrients. So again, I just want to say that commercial chocolate is often ultra processed, and it's high in sugar, and I personally don't consider it chocolate, but that's just me. It can be addictive. It can trigger cravings. And if you're on a healing journey, especially with chronic illness or inflammation, it's best, in my opinion, to avoid chocolate and find a cleaner version, like the plain organic cacao, or even get crazy and do the Carob. So if you decide to use chocolate, again, look for the brands with the simple, like clean ingredients. You can use chopped chocolate or melted bars in baking, drizzle it over your fruit, or make your own whole food plant-based chocolate at home using the date paste or the date syrup or the date sugar and the raw cacao. And I've even seen companies that sell date-based chocolate chips, and I sometimes have them. I don't right now to show you. So, okay, I'm ready to look in the chat. We saw all of the answers that we said about, how much chocolate do you think is consumed around the world each year? Are you going to do a drum roll, Todd? That's really good.
That's as close as I get.
Okay, the answer is, wait, I just want to check, it looks like there might be some. Any new answer? Okay, the answer is more than 7 million metric tons. That's an average of almost 2 pounds of chocolate per person per year. Is that insane? Do you guys understand the amount of chocolate that is? Wow! Oh my gosh. So anybody want to add any comments or questions about that? Anything else in the chat, Todd?
I would like to add that Kiko apparently sells her homemade chocolate in her cafe in Kyoto, so we're going on a chocolate road trip.
Oh my gosh. Kiko, I can't wait. Kiko was on my channel. We were in the Raw Vegan Bundle together, and it's so great to have you here right now, along with everyone else. I was very excited to have you here, because I don't know what time it is there, but Japan is on a different time schedule than we are here in Arizona in America. And oh man, I might someday try to take you up on that and go to your cafe in Kyoto, which I have been to before, and it was wonderful. So let me just see. Oh, Core Scorpy. Well, Marley has some really, can you put that one up there, Marley's? Just to show that up higher. There you go. Wow, that's her reaction. Core Scorpy, let's put that one up. Core Scorpy says, I was closest, right under Marley's, Todd. There you go. Up higher.
Oh, got
higher. It. Yep, there you go. I was closest. Jackie says, great drum roll. Todd, you got a great drum roll. And she wants me to repeat that. Yes, Todd, repeat that.
7 million metric tons of chocolate are eaten around the globe each year.
I wanted you to do your special, like,
My special radio voice.
your
Ladies and gentlemen.
special radio voice. And only off by 199 million tons, says Core Scorpio.
That's pretty close, though.
Yes. Kiko says 7 million metric pounds. I don't even understand that. And I can't say that I totally understand it. It's just, and when you think of it broken down to the people and then how many people, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's a lot.
It's a lot of chocolate.
It's a lot. So anyways, Marilyn says, white chocolate has no taste, and Todd is heading out. He's waving to everyone. He has a meeting, and so I just wanted you to know that he will not be in the chat, but I'm here with you guys just to finish up. And Kiko says it's 7 a.m. in Japan, so that's tomorrow, Wednesday, for us here on Tuesday. Yeah, Marley, I don't even understand that either. So it's a lot. Core Scorpio is joking and says 6.9 million metric tons off. I was way off, but still closest. How fun, Jennifer. These quiz questions are great. Well, I am glad that you guys are enjoying it. And I just want to take a few more minutes of your time before we wrap up, just to tell you that cacao is raw, nutrient dense, and is best for energy and antioxidant support. Cocoa is roasted cacao. It's milder and it's good for baking or comfort food flavor. Carob is not cacao or cocoa, but it is a sweet, stimulant-free, and gut-friendly. Chocolate is a blend of cacao and cocoa and a bunch of other stuff, hopefully not too many other things. So read the labels and be mindful of your sources. So my best advice to you regarding all of this is know your body. Experiment with what works for you. And remember, food is here to nourish, not to punish. So there's no need to fear the ingredients. Just get informed and make choices that best support your goals and your healing. So I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I hope this helps bring clarity and confidence to your pantry and to your plate. And let me know in the comments if you learned something new today. I'd like to hear, this is the last question, are you team cacao, cocoa, or carob? And you can pick more than one. Okay, let me know. Are you team cacao, team cocoa, or team carob? So thanks so much for spending this time with me today. You are empowered and supported and deeply loved on the plant-powered journey. So I just want to take a second to check the chat here and let's see. Thank you. Oh, Kiko says, I know why this crazy amount of chocolate is consumed. Did you know Valentine's Day in Japan, women give chocolate to men marketed by a chocolate company. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, and, we have Valentine's Day and all of those things too. John Ju says, thank you, Jennifer and Todd. Another informative and entertaining session. You are so welcome, so welcome. Yes, and Marley says, it's the same here in the United States, marketed to women and the kids. And I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. So Lisa says, I like cocoa and cacao. And Marley says, I want to try carob. Oh, yes, please do. And we won't forget to put a link in so that you can check out some, but you can probably find it on your own. Elsa's here. Hi, Elsa. Cacao is what Els says, and everybody is enjoying this. So I just want to say, don't forget, everyone, don't forget to eat your greens and give plants a chance. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care, be well, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.